Hello students, this video is for the students of 7th grade. They had requested me to teach them history. So I thought of making one video for them that is about Turkish invasion. So children, now you all know that history is divided into three periods, okay? One is ancient history, about which you have studied in 6th grade. Second is a medieval history, about which you are studying right now. And the next period is a modern period, about which you will study in 8th grade. So in this chapter, we are going to discuss that how did medieval period started in India? How did this period start in India? So there are different historians, different beliefs. So many of the historians, they believe that medieval period started in India with the invasion of the Turks. Now who were Turks? How did they come to India? Why did they come to India? Now in the previous chapter, that is Rise of Islam, you have studied about Abbasid dynasty. So when Abbasid dynasty started declining, so there were many slaves, many feudal lords who took an advantage and created their own kingdoms by capturing big towns. So when Abbasid empire disintegrated, it disintegrated in many small kingdoms. So two of the important Turkish kingdoms of that period were Ghazni and Ghor. So first I am going to explain you about the Ghazni, that is Mahmud of Ghazni. Who was Mahmud of Ghazni? His father was a slave who took an advantage of this political chaos and the disintegration, and he captured the city of Ghazni and established his rule in Ghazni. His son was Mahmud of Ghazni, who was a great soldier, a very brave commander and a very motivating figure who was able to motivate his armies to fight in the battlefield. Now this Mahmud of Ghazni, he had invaded India 17 times. Mahmud of Ghazni has ruled for at least 27 years. So in these 27 years, he had invaded India at least for 17 times. What were the reasons? Why India? And how he was able to win every time? Now the first reason is the political uncertainty and the political conditions inside India. You have studied about Gupta Empire. When Gupta Empire disintegrated, there was one important ruler that was there in the north, that was in Thanesar, that was King Harshvardhan. So when King Harshvardhan died, even his empire started disintegrating. So there were many feudal lords. They also captured small places and established their own kingdoms. But what was the problem here? So they kept on fighting amongst each other. So definitely when you are not united, somebody from outside will come and take an advantage of your weakness. The same thing happened. So the person who took the advantage of this uncertainty was Mahmud of Ghazni. That's why it is said, united we stand, divided we fall. So Mahmud of Ghazni, his first target was King Jaipal. Now who was King Jaipal? King Jaipal was the ruler in the northwest side of the country. There was Hindu Shahi kingdom whose contemporary ruler was King Jaipal. There is one historian, Farishta, who writes him as the king of Peshawar. Peshawar is currently in Pakistan, but earlier it used to be in India. So King Jaipal, because Punjab, the area that Pakistan shares border with Afghanistan as well. So definitely it was the easy target for Mahmud of Ghazni to invade India. But why? Why did he invade India? Now the one reason for his invasion was his greed for wealth. He wanted to accumulate the whole wealth of the world with him. There was a poet in his court whose name was Firdausi. Now he told Firdausi to write a book, poetic book, and he promised him that for every couplet that you are going to write, I am going to give you one gold coin, that is mohar. So he wrote the book. The name of the book is Shahnama. That is a very good book in a poetic form. So when the time came to pay, this person, he offered him only 60,000 silver coins rather than offering gold coins. So we can understand that how much greed he will have for wealth, that he didn't want to depart from the wealth that he had. Even when he was on his deathbed, So he ordered his courtiers that whatever the wealth I had accumulated during my lifetime, I want you to bring the whole wealth in front of my eyesight. Because even when he was on the deathbed, he was grieving that I'm departing, I'm separating from my wealth. He was not sorry that he is leaving the world. He was sorry because he was departing, he was separating from his wealth. So we can understand what kind of greed that person will have for the wealth. And India was definitely a rich country. It was there famous for its riches. So the reason was there, the motive was there with Mahmud of Ghazni to invade India. So the first battle that he had fought in India is the Battle of Vaihin that he has fought in 1000th century with King Jaipal. Now King Jaipal was although a brave soldier, he fought very bravely, but Mahmud of Ghazni was too brave. So finally what happened? King Jaipal, he lost the battle, he was made captive, his family was made captive, 500,000 people were also made captive, including the children. So King Jaipal, he was bound and he was paraded across the city of Ghazni. So that was very humiliating for King Jaipal. Then he paid a huge ransom to Mahmud of Ghazni to get himself free and his family free from his captivity. He also gave 50 war elephants to Mahmud of Ghazni as a ransom. Paying amount was not a big deal. What was a big deal here? Dignity. His dignity was hurt. So King Jaipal, he asked his soldier to make a pile of woods. It was put on fire and then he jumped into the fire and took away his life. Mahmud Ghazni won the war, but King Jaipal, he could not bear the insult. Now King Jaipal was succeeded by his son Anandpal. Anandpal was a great warrior like his father. So again Mahmud of Ghazni invaded the kingdom of King Anandpal in the year 1008th century. Here this time King Anandpal, he requested the other kings to help him and to form an alliance, and immediately at his request the king of Kannauj, Gwalior, then Ajmer, Delhi, Ujjain, they sent their forces for the help of Anandpal. Anandpal was about to win, but sometimes luck doesn't favor you. It didn't happen in the case of King Anandpal. And how did it happen? Now there is one thing that the Indian rulers most of the time they rely on elephants. And elephants, you know, they are such a huge animal and definitely it's going to give a lot of loss to the enemy. But there is a problem with elephant. What is that? First of all, it is slow, okay? But then they cannot handle the smell of naphtha balls. And Mahmud of Ghazni, he relied on cavalry. Cavalry is horses. You know, horses are very fast. It is quick to attack and then to run away. And Mahmud of Ghazni was aware of the weakness of elephants and he used the same trick. So the elephant on which Anandpal was riding, it became unruly with the smell of that naphtha balls and it started fleeing from the battlefield. So all the soldiers of Anandpal who were there in the battlefield, they got confused and finally they started also retreating. And Mahmud of Ghazni, when they saw that the soldiers are retreating, he killed many of the soldiers in the battlefield when they were retreating. So finally Anandpal was also defeated and even he had to sign a treaty with Mahmud of Ghazni. So in both the battles, Mahmud of Ghazni, he won. First King Jaipal lost and then his son Anandpal also lost the battle. But this was not the end of his invasion. He was more attracted towards the richness of the temples. Why? You have studied in the previous class that the kings, they used to do a lot of charity to the temples. A lot of gold was donated to the temples. There was a lot of land that belonged to the temple. So the temples, they used to collect the revenue and the temples were very rich. So definitely this richness attracted Mahmud of Ghazni to invade India. So he had invaded, as I've told you earlier, 17 times. He invaded the temples of Mathura, then Kannauj, that is currently in UP, then Kangra, that is in Himachal, then Thanesar, that is in Haryana, Nagarkot, that is Kangra only. So at all these places he had invaded. So invasion was not the only thing. In his every invasion, he looted whatever he could, and whatever he was not able to take along, he destroyed it. He put the villages on fire. For us, he was a devil. Now, his most important invasion was of Somnath temple. Somnath temple is in Gujarat. Now, Som is moon god. Now, there is a very interesting story behind it. As per the Hindu mythology, King Daksh Prajapati, he had 27 daughters. And all these 27 daughters were married to God Moon. But God Moon, he loved Rohini the most. So other 26 wives, they used to feel jealous. So these 26 wives, they marked a complaint to their father that King Moon is always in love with Rohini and is not paying any attention to us. So King Moon's father-in-law, he tried to make him understand multiple times, but of no use. So finally one day, King Prajapati was so upset that he cursed Moon that may your light disappear, okay, the shine disappear. And Moon was with no light, no shine. So then he prayed to Lord Shiva, that Jyotirling. There are 12 Jyotirlings in India, and the first one is at Somnath. So he prayed to Lord Shiva. So Moon god, he took a dip in river Saraswati, and Lord Shiva said the effect of the curse cannot be taken away completely, but yes, this can be done, that for the 15 days you will lose your light, it will fade away, and then again you will start gaining your light. So that's how it is. You studied in science about full moon and new moon. So this is the story as per the Hindu mythology. So that place is actually Somnath temple, and it was one of the richest temple in Gujarat, that is on the coastal side. So now the next target of Mahmud of Ghazni was Somnath temple. He had heard a lot about Somnath temple. So he started his journey from Ghazni to Gujarat. So he took 30,000 horsemen with him and 50,000 camels. The camels were having all the essentials, water, whatever the food they required for cooking, everything. So finally he started his journey towards Somnath to invade it. His first halt was at Multan, where the ruler of Multan gave him a tough fight, but then again Mahmud of Ghazni was able to make a win. After Multan, he passed from the deserts of Rajasthan and reached Anhilwada, which was the capital of the Chalukya dynasty in Gujarat. Bhima was the then ruler in Gujarat. He was not prepared for the invasion of Mahmud of Ghazni. So when he heard that, he fled from there in a region, in an island in the Kutch region. So the priest in the temple, they started praying to Lord to help them, and they started performing yagnas and everything. So when Mahmud Ghazni entered the city, there was nobody to defend the city. He was completely shocked and surprised. He sent one of his spies that you go and check that what's happening inside the Somnath temple. He was suspecting something, that they might attack over him through a guerrilla warfare. So when the spy, he looked inside the Somnath temple, he could see the whole smoke inside the temple. He couldn't figure out anything. So in 1026th century, he laid siege to the fort, and whosoever was there inside the temple, even when he was able to enter inside the temple, whosoever was there, he killed them mercilessly. And then he ordered to break the Jyotirling. Now, because when he was about to break the Jyotirling, the priest in the temple, they offered him a lot of huge amount of money, gold, jewels, whatever he wanted, and requested him not to break the Jyotirling. But then he replied that I don't want that history will remember me as an idol seller. I want to be remembered as an idol breaker. And when he saw Jyotirling, it was suspended in the air. There was no support beneath the Jyotirling. He was, amazed to see this kind of thing, that Jyotirling was completely suspending in the air. He asked one of the soldiers that you check something mysterious is there. So his soldier, he took the spear and he just tried to, wave beneath the Jyotirling, and there was no support. And there was science behind it, that is magnetic equilibrium, because of which it was suspending in the air. Finally, Jyotirling was broken into pieces. So afterward, he went back to Ghazni. Although he was not able to survive for longer time. After 4 years of his invasion, he died, and with his death, his empire also came to an end because he was not a good administrator. He had looted a lot. He tried to make the city of Ghazni beautiful. He had established a great empire in the Central Asia, but a poor administrator. He failed to establish a stable empire. With his end of his life, his empire also came to an end. His invasion, yes, definitely a lot of loss to India. But after his death, there were 5 major kingdoms that were there in India. One is Chauhans of Delhi and Ajmer, then Rathors of Kannauj, Chandels of Bundelkhand, Solankis of Gujarat, and Parmars of Malwa. During their time, another invader, that is Mahmud Ghazni. I hope you will be able to understand. If you want me to make another video on Mahmud Ghazni, please write in the comment section. So subscribe my channel. Thank you so much.